Alrighty. Excuse me. If you on YouTube can see me right now, well, I better turn on the chat window. There we go. Then I gotta shuffle my monitor over a little bit. Got this little whatever. Oh, wait, I gotta turn on my other background because I'm sitting in front of a quantum core. Where did I put it? In fact, I got backdrop and backdrop. Okay. There it is. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, let's see here. Whew. Okay, that'll have to do. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, good. All right, so I want to go over a video editing workflow today. But before I do, I really want to set up my new numeric macro board. Well, it's a numeric keypad, but my intention is to set it up as a macro keyboard, sort of like the Stream Deck. Not the Steam Deck, but the Stream Deck, that, you know, thingamajig that people use when, you know, they want to have a soundboard or they want to hook it up to OBS so they switch inputs. So instead of spending $150 on the Stream Deck, I decided to buy this instead to see how it works. Huh. I need more USB ports. Wait a second. My monitor has USB ports on it. Good luck finding them, but... It's like my first day. Alright. There it is. Is that it? Huh. Yeah, okay. I think that feels... Can't tell. Yep, okay, found it. Those feel like USB ports. Don't know what orientation they are. Nope, that is not a USB port. I don't think that's a USB port. Yeah, I'm kind of just picking random places to shove USB cables in until they fit. Oh, that's the USB port. Okay. Okay, good. I wasn't expecting that. I was actually expecting that I already had USB ports that were readily available, but then I suddenly realized I did not have USB ports that were readily available. I had to make my own. Alrighty. Okay, so obviously this is simply a numeric keypad. It's a mechanical numeric keypad, which is really cool. Also, yeah, I kind of like you can hold it in your hand like a pocket calculator. But I just bought it because my keyboard does not have a numeric keypad. I bought this one figuring that the brown mechanical switches would be silent. They kind of are. And also with the intent of getting an external numeric keypad. And literally the very week that I bought this keyboard, I did buy a numeric keypad, but it never came in. Amazon was like, oh, we see this order has been out for like weeks. We're going to cancel it for you because we're, you know, it's so nice. And that's cool, but I still didn't have a numeric keypad. So now I just want to have like buttons at hand, pun intended. Well, that's at hand, that I can simply tap to mute my audio, because on more than one occasion I've done a stream where I forget to unmute my audio. I'm talking to people and they're like, Ron, you're muted, and then I gotta unmute myself, and you know, so I want to be able to I have a very old wooden desk that is in dire need of re-varnishing, or whatever the term is called when you redo the stain on a wooden desk. And so I just decided to cover the darn thing in gaffer's tape, because apparently when you have like a really old like varnish or a really old laminate on a desk, it gets a little weird. Like, instead of just being a wooden desk that's old, it perpetually generates its own dust. Okay, so we got the numeric keypad here. It's nice and flat. I can type on it. I assure you, I see numbers on my screen. Now, originally my plan was to do my video editing workflow. And, you know, I have an ultra wide screen monitor, so if I decide to run this application in, you know, full screen mode, I would necessarily have to crop the bottom of the image like we're doing right now. And I could zoom in on it. You know, I could, like, for example, duplicate this particular display and shrink it or enlarge it like this. Something like that, yeah. And then we can alternate. We could go boom, boom. But, you know, it's nice having an ultra widescreen monitor, but sometimes I don't actually need the application to go horizontally. But anyway, this here, before I mess with the macro keyboard, this was the original intent of today's stream, to go over DaVinci Resolve, an editing program which I'm literally buying because I want to replace Adobe Premiere. Adobe Premiere has served me well for many years in various forms. And recently I wanted to upgrade and get like a newer version with a perpetual license, meaning that you pay for it once and you don't have to pay for it again until you renew the program. But they, you know, Adobe didn't really want to sell that. You know, they want you to subscribe to their Creative Cloud, and you know, that's fine, but it's not for me. And like, you know, I would love to be able to, like, you know, use the Creative Cloud and have access to like Warp Stabilizer, you know, and have updates that fix bugs, because, you know, if you don't have a legit copy, or if you're not using the subscription, you may be barred from updates or may be unable to use updates. But I got by, you know, over the years with outdated versions on various platforms, on various machines I've owned. It's been a pretty decent workhorse. I've used it for like simple tasks, smaller tasks, as well as, you know, slightly more advanced projects. But I'm not gonna pay like $50 a month every year for the entire year, multiple years in a row. If I bought Adobe Premiere like 2 years ago, excuse me, if I bought Adobe Premiere like 2-3 years ago, I barely used it, and it would have cost me like astronomically, you know. And in theory, maybe I could have canceled my Creative Cloud subscription and reactivated it. I don't even know if I could have done that because, you know, they give you the bulk discount if you buy it up front. But there were times where like I wanted a good editing program, but I only wanted to use it like once and then put it down for like 3 months. Come back like 3 months later and use it again. And you know, so it's not worth $50 a month. Now, if it was $600 once, and you know, I use it like for the course of 3 years, 4 years, on and off. Okay, so it cost me less. It cost me like $2 a month, let's say. If I pay $600, if I pay $50 a month now, okay, so it's $50. It's like 500 and what? $600? Is that right? Yeah, $600 a year. So $1,800 after 3 years versus paying $600 to cover the cost for 3 years. You know, it'd be like $200 a year. And, you know, the math for that is like about, I don't know, like $5, $6, give or take some coin. I can live with that. But I can't live with, you know, $600 a year for something that I may not use regularly. Now, I'm starting to use editing software more regularly, but I'd rather put my money in the ring for DaVinci Resolve. And, you know, maybe like, you know, like one of the features I'm about to complain about with Adobe is probably a result of me using an old version. So, for example, when I'm using Open Broadcast Studio, got my settings window, okay? I'm gonna go and pop into proper full screen mode. Okay, we got the OBS window dead center. I go over here. I go to properties. Excuse me. Okay, so we got that. Advanced properties. I got multiple sound sources. So what you're looking at here is my microphone, which is down here, the Samson G-Track Pro, the bottom most item, is linked to track number 1 and track number 2. So when I record audio, track number 1 and 2 will contain duplicate audio tracks, and there's a reason I do this. And then if I have like another microphone, if I have my Nintendo, let's say I plug in my Nintendo or HDMI, that resides on track number 3, but it also resides on track 1. And then if I have audio coming out of my speakers, desktop audio, that goes through track 1 and track 4. So why did I do it this way? Well, my main intent is to have separate audio tracks that are independent from each other. So if I have to, you know, go and edit the video and change the volume of one audio track, I can do that selectively. But at the same time, if I'm playing the video to preview the video, sometimes you don't want separate audio tracks. If I, you know, record a file right now, I can open up a file, say in Adobe. Okay, so that's a file I recorded the other day. And if I right click here, I click on audio track, it shows you I got track 1 is called combined because it's everything combined. Track 2 is just my microphone. Literally this black microphone is represented here as track 2. Then we got track 3, the HDMI, or track 4 actually, and then my monitor, or, you know, I forget, I lose count. But the point is that if I don't have all of the audio tracks combined in track 1, when I want to preview the video after recording it, I would have to manually toggle between the 3 tracks. And you can do that with the keyboard, but it would be easier to just have it all together for previewing the footage. And then during editing, I can either keep the audio combined if, let's say, I'm happy with the volume levels during the original recording and I'm being lazy and I don't want to make any real adjustments for whatever reason, then yeah, I could totally just use track 1 and have the combined tracks. And, you know, it's a double-edged sword because it means that when I'm actually recording, if I want to mute a particular track for that, you know, first audio track, I have to actually manually mute it. And that's fine, except that you have to remember to unmute the audio tracks you know, if you intend on recording those. If you forget to unmute them over here, it doesn't matter if you have multiple audio tracks here. Okay, so logically now, you would think that you could take this video file, drag and drop it in Adobe Premiere, and see all of the audio tracks. I mean, there is some documentation that says it's officially supported in some form, but in practice, no. It only sees track 1. I don't know why, but that is exactly the experience. I've tried, I followed various tutorials, I verified that my version does not let me separate those audio tracks from the file that I'm importing over here in the bin. And that was like number 1 deal breaker issue. And I got by because I found a program called, like, I don't know, something MKV, not Make MKV, it's called like Muxer, VMux, DMux, MKV Mux, Video Mux. I can't remember the name. See, like, this is half the battle right here. But I have an icon somewhere for a program that lets me open up the files that I recorded in OBS, and it will let me select the audio tracks just like we were just doing now in VLC, where I right clicked on it, I clicked audio track, and then it will let me export the audio track. It'll either let me export the video along with the selected audio track as its only track, or it'll let me just export a WAV, MP3, or FLAC file, or AAC, containing that track. So a lot of times I would do is I would export the desired separated track as an AAC, or AC3, whatever is like the cool standard. And then I would import that to Adobe, and then I could take that lonesome audio track and line it up, you know, right there at the bottom of the footage. And there was a minor disadvantage. It meant that I had to do like my pre-cuts, my preliminary cutting in the timeline, or I'd create like a separate timeline just so I could do my preliminary cuts. Whereas a lot of times when you import something in Adobe, you would typically, you know, do something where you would like double click it or drag it up here in this panel up here, and it would look like, you know, you could actually put the in out, you got an in out button over here, and the idea is that you would select the in and out part that you want, and you would drag it to the timeline as like a semi-edited clip. You know, it's a nice convenient feature. Now, going back down here, you know, you had to do that early. So if you knew you had separate audio tracks you wanted to use, your best bet was to do that in the beginning, to separate the audio tracks using that other program, which I cannot remember the name of it right now. I don't know why. I mean, I don't use it often because, let's just say, I avoid using it like the plague. It's not a bad program. It's just like, you know, I really didn't want to have to use it, you know, if I didn't have to. Like, it's my tortoise. Hey, buddy. Oh my God, it's so cute. My tortoise is climbing, and I got this like cheap Chinese camera, which is fine. It was a good price, but I can't like access it through a browser. Every time I try to go to their website, it gives me a hard time. It's like asking me for the CAPTCHA, you know. Are you a robot? Uh-oh. I think my tortoise knocked out the power cord. He does that sometimes. Okay, we're recording a video. I don't know if we're gonna see my buddy. I always like getting videos of my tortoise. Oh, there he is. He's climbing into his hut. I built him a wall. Anyway, this will be like, see, what I need to do is have this tortoise camera set up on the computer so that I can show you the video of the tortoise when it's happening, when he's doing something funny. Like just now, he climbed over his log. You know, I love watching my tortoise climb things. I'm so proud of him. And I built him a wall. See? Okay, anyway, getting back on topic here. That is so funny. I think turtles are funny. They look like walking blocks of wood. You know, they look so absurd. Okay, so what the hell is the name of that program? Now I'm determined to find out the name of it. It's got like a stupid name. Like, I'm gonna like be disappointed when I find it. I cannot remember the name. I swear it's called like MKV Mux. It's not Make MKV because that's something else I use. Hybrid, that is one hell of a video encoder. If you've ever used Handbrake, Hybrid is like Handbrake, but with way more settings. And you know, if you know what you're doing, it's ideal. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't really want it to take a long time to encode video, it could be quite a hog, which isn't a bad thing because it gives you fine-grained control. But like, I remember I was setting up that program and it took like 2 days to encode a video, but to deinterlace it. And actually, that's another feature to talk about today. But my God, I can't remember the name of this. Is this it? Oh, there it is. AVI Demux. I should really write this down. AVI Demux. Because I'll tell you, this is an important thing to know about any video editing workflow. You gotta have something, a notepad, a Google Keep notepad file, or both. So at 11 minutes and 10 seconds, Mux icon was located. Okay. And we'll call this editing edit flow. Excuse me, I gotta clear that. Okay, so we'll do over to like F format. Okay, good. There we go. Alrighty, and then we'll just say for argument's sake at 12:02 audio stuff continued. Doesn't really matter. Okay. So yeah, OBS can record separate audio tracks. You see it in the settings here. You also see it when you go to the actual settings window. You go to say recording and you can see I got 1, 2, 3, 4 audio tracks. So I've designated 4 audio tracks and I've set them all to be 256 kilobits per second, and they've been named as follows: combined, microphone, HDMI output, desktop, and this one I don't use. But that label, these labels I put over here correspond with the labeling that ends up in the actual file. So this is a file I recorded in OBS, and these labels match up with the labels we created under settings, under output, under audio. And we have, you know, 4 audio tracks because we only need 4 audio tracks. We don't even need 4 of them. But like I said, if let's say you have like 3 audio devices, in my case, I need 1 more audio track. Especially back when I was using Adobe Premiere, I needed this extra audio track because it made things easier for previewing the audio before combining the, you know, or separating the track. You know, you could do everything in one combined audio track and not have these separate tracks, but then you're gonna have to, you know, there's no way to separate the audio tracks if they're in one track. You know, you might know someone who can do it, but you're gonna lose data in the process. There's no like clean way of doing it, or no reliable clean way, no easy way to do it. And you know, the best way is to have separate audio tracks if you intend on separating them. And so theoretically I don't need track 1, but when you open up the file you want track 1 for preview purposes. And so now when I edit in Adobe in DaVinci, this is where it gets really cool. Okay, so I went into DaVinci Resolve, I imported my file, and you'll observe that in the timeline we got like 1, 2, 3 tracks. I already deleted an extra audio track. I had an audio track on the bottom that wasn't being used. It was muted in OBS, but it's there just because I don't want to forget to turn it on. So I deleted the audio track for my PC audio. Track 1 is everything combined. So me talking plus the video game. Track 2 is just me talking, nothing else. And track 3 is just the video game. So when I first opened this up, I was hearing sort of like an echo, sort of like in a rap song when they record rap music. They'll have the guy sing the same lyrics multiple times, and then they'll combine the tracks together in order to give more body, more range to the audio, I guess. And I sounded a bit like a rapper. Not really, but you know. So all I had to do was mute track 1, and then everything sounded normal. And then I went to track 3 because I left the volume level was extremely low. Even now, if we go into OBS, you can see that that's my HDMI input, was pretty low. So we, you know, ideally we want like a good loud audio signal, but at the time I was doing a live stream, so the main way to like control the audio on the live stream is to lower the source. But in editing, luckily, you know, I didn't really hear any loss of quality when I goosed up the volume. I had to basically zoom in on the timeline and get this little double arrow thing that you probably can barely see. And that makes the waves bigger. So you can see, like, if I bring it up, it's louder. I bring it down, it gets lower. So that worked. And then I press Ctrl-Z to undo that change. So bottom line, DaVinci Resolve already is like doing something I really like. And that is, it is combining my audio tracks. Or more accurately, it is giving me separate audio tracks. That is the super duper important thing to me. I want separate audio tracks. I want to be able to control them independently. I could probably delete track 1. I'm going to keep it for now just in case I need to reference it, but most likely I will get rid of it. Okay, so, you know, that's kind of like a high-level overview here. I'm learning how to use this program, so if we dive deeper into my editing workflow, I'm going to be less talk and more do because, like I said, I'm not an authority on DaVinci Resolve. Adobe, you know, I mean, I have more experience. I'm more comfortable with this application here. You know, basic things. And a few minorly advanced things, but this was like a project I was doing as a favor for an older person. That's not a nice way to put it, but they want to do like a podcast, and so they have a song playing, and then they want like the song to change over here. Then they wanted a different version with the song they originally had. So it starts off with Sprach Zarathustra, can't even say that, followed by a different song. And yes, Sprach Zarathustra, I'm not even saying it right. That is the name of the song from 2001, A Space Odyssey. If you go on YouTube and you look up like, you know, like 2001 song Stargate Universe, there's a hilarious scene where like these two guys are talking about the song from 2001, and the guy's like, "You mean the song from 2001?" And he's like, "No, it's called Sprach Zarathustra." And he's like, "Nobody knows it by that name." And the guy's like, kind of like just saying, "Well, that's the correct name." Yeah, here it is. This is funny. I gotta go retrieve something real quick. So while I go to retrieve something, I'm gonna let this play out.
Also Sprach Zarathustra. It's a theme from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
So why didn't you just say that?
Because that's not what it's called. It's called Also Sprach Zarathustra. Thus spoke Zarathustra by Strauss.
Yeah, but nobody knows it by that name, so why not just say the name?
Look, you asked me what my favorite piece of music was, and I'm just telling you. That's
yeah, I'm just saying
what it is. It's the one piece that reminds me of the very moment I wanted to be an astrophysicist.
Right, when you saw 2001?
Yes.
That's my point, that people know that song only because of the movie.
It's not a song, Brody.
Oh, it's not a song now?
Oh my god, I cannot watch this video. This is a higher production value video, and I feel like I might actually get claimed. I mean, I think the guys who make these videos are very nice. I don't think they would actually claim it strike me for playing their video by accident, but maybe on purpose. But I find it funny because like the title of the video is like the best and worst fictional flags and emblems. And like I definitely saw like, where was it? Okay, so limit number of colors. Okay, so you got like Japan and these other flags. Good flag versus bad flag. Okay, so they're talking about many flags, but in the thumbnail image they had the Xeon flag, and that was hilarious to me because, you know, obviously like that flag could sometimes be a sore spot for some people. I want to see something here. Did I even mention it? Oh, here it is. Yep. So it's like, this one's amazing that they got like that. This one ever got like, I mean, honestly, like it's all about, what was it? You're making a show in the late 70s during the 1980s, and you're representing a fascist regime. And this is symbolism here. You know, you got your Principality or Duchy of Xeon logo emblem smack in the middle of a flag that would have a different symbol on it. It works, but I can see, I'm surprised like nobody is reading about it today. Like, you know, I think if this was new and you had like an American publication or something doing this, they would be like, what the hell? But somehow this gets past the mediocrity police or whatever you want to call them. You know, and maybe it's because they're subtle about it. You know, Sunrise isn't going out of their way and putting this on blast on billboards, but it's out there. It appears in places. They probably try to avoid putting it in games, but you know, I'll look forward to watching this video later on because yeah, it totally is very similar to that other flag from World War II. Okay, but the other video I showed, that one, okay, I hope I don't break my stream. That one, yeah, that's like the guy describing this song from 2001, A Space Odyssey. He was saying like his favorite song is Sprach Zarathustra. And the guy is like, nobody knows it by that name. Why don't you just call it the song from 2001? And I thought it was a hilarious scene. I didn't even know if that was the name of this song. And, you know, I dig where the other guy's coming from. He's being accurate, but then later on in the episode, they illustrate the point because when other people are like, what song you talking about? And he just kind of laments and says the name of that everyone is familiar with. So, okay, before I was noticing a little aberration in my internet performance, so I wanted to see if I had any obvious issue here, but okay, that looks fine. Alrighty. So now, what I want to do is I want to set up my macro keyboard, and I hope to God I don't have anything sketchy on here. Sorry. I'm going to have to clean that up. There's nothing bad here, just I have notes on here, so I didn't want to take a chance and show off any notes. Yeah, no, nothing weird. I swear, nothing weird here. Nah. Yeah. It's pretty funny, actually, like when people started doing teleworking and Zoom meetings and, you know, school-related things and doing screen sharing, it could be pretty funny because people start using their File Explorer, and most of the time, you know, your File Explorer should show you only the folders you want. But, like Windows 10, Windows 7, and upward, even Vista, they had a feature called Libraries, so depending on which picture folder icon that you click, you'll either get your Pictures folder on its own, or you'll get a combined like set of pictures. You get like a different folder combined with your Pictures folder. And that one, of course, like might be a Pictures folder, a separate folder you don't want to share. And that could be pretty funny. But what I'm looking for, here we are. Stream Deck, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So we need this program called ATN Soft. And this is supposed to allow us to map macros, and how much are they charging for it? $60. Okay, yeah, you know what? I'm buying a freaking Stream Deck. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm not paying 60 bucks, you know, and at the same time, I can't endorse bootlegging on a live stream. So my only other option is just pay double, buy a Stream Deck. Fine, I can live with the $150. Now, jokes aside, let's see what the free version does. We'll be happy to send you a license or even a few ones in exchange for an interesting article, blog post, or YouTube video. Oh, okay, well, that's easy since they're marketing this application to people who do live streams. They are willing to, of course, get, you know, promoted. Of course, they want you to say positive things, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe they don't mind if you say something negative. I don't know if they'll actually really want to give me a free one, but what I want to know is, what does the normal free license have? Like the one that you download here. Okay, remap keys, mouse button presses, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Emulate mouse buttons. Okay, that looks fine. And what is this? Okay. Well. Okay, well, I don't really need key combinations. Not yet. I just want to remap a couple of buttons, I think. Although, if I want to mute audio in OBS, that can get a little, you know, a little different. Yeah, let's see here. ATN Soft OBS. Like, which one do people use? It's great. You can just like go on YouTube and like get quick answers if you're like really lazy. Because okay, we know how to do this in OBS. That's not the hard part. But obviously, if I map a hotkey in OBS to be like the number 5, that's not going to be helpful because every time I type number 5, it's going to do something other than type a number 5. I should have just bought the Stream Deck. And you got some like free applications, maybe, assuming these are like safe to use, but Key Mapper, Key Manager. I would love a little more clarity on what the difference is. They look kind of similar. This screenshot is mentioning ICQ. Nobody's using ICQ. I don't think anybody uses ICQ. It's on a program by program basis from what I can figure. Okay, so like this has some of its own hotkeys. So Control P will pause the functionality, which is good that they have a hotkey that overrides everything and pauses functionality. I was wondering if there would be a way to turn off the key remapper so that I could use my numeric keypad and then go back to using it as a macro keyboard. You know, if I was really serious about using this as a macro keyboard, what I would ultimately do is print out little pictures, little labels, and stick them onto the keys to represent various functions. Really like the mechanical switches on here. Anyway, but Control P, really? I mean, dude, Control P is like print. Granted, I haven't printed anything on this particular computer in like 6 months, but it's just a matter of principle. When I want to print something, I want it to be easy. You know, I don't print every day. Like, I want to know, are people using Key Mapper or Key Manager in order to do stuff in OBS? Yes, Key Manager versus Key Mapper. You know, like somebody has had to have done a review of that. Well, it looks like Key Manager seems to be the go-to here. So you know what? I'll take my chances. I'll use Key Manager. And I'll even install it. I would hope I could remap the toggle button. You know, I would rather have like Control-Shift-P. Something like that. And I don't even know if Control-Shift-P would be good, because if I go to Photoshop, Control-Shift-P opens up this. Which, yeah, I don't need that. I could just go to page setup, I guess, right? You know. But, you know, Control P? Yeah, no, I'm not replacing Control P. Okay, if we go to OBS, we got the main window, we got our hotkeys, and I really only want to do one hotkey right now. Like, I want to do mute. That is all I want to do. Whoops. Okay, so that is not going to be... Oh, I keep forgetting that. You got to clear it. Whoops. Okay. See, part of my problem is I have so many sources. Okay, good. Perfect. Microphone G-Track Pro. So the problem is, let's say I do like the equal sign. Oh, that's interesting. I just pressed 2 separate buttons on my numeric keypad, and both of them show up as numlock on here. So now where's my notepad file? My little notepad file. Okay. Test. Okay, so I could do numbers. I could do enter. I could do plus, minus, and plus. Slash, asterisk, tab, open up a calculator, and backspace. Then if I want to toggle it, What I find interesting about this numeric keypad, here we are, num lock. Okay, good. And then I could turn it on the arrow keys. Okay, cool. So now we go back to mute and I press a button here. Let's say I press 9. Okay, so that's page up. So this is a problem because it means if I press page up over here, it's not gonna, you know, well, bad example. If I do page down, great. Page up, great. Okay, so that still works. But I also have page up over here too. So when I do number 9 on my numeric keypad, it's doing page up, which I guess makes sense. But the question is, if I do 9, okay, so page up will mute it and unmute. And hold on, actually, yeah, so let's say we apply the setting. There's a conflict. So now we're going to do just mute. I'm going to press mute. I got to click apply. Okay, now I'm going to press number 9. Nothing. So for some reason it doesn't like that key combination. We'll try it again. Number 9. Nope, it doesn't like it. Apply. Yeah, it's giving me an exclamation point. Okay. Let's turn on numlock. Now it just says numlock. Wait. So no matter what button I press on the numeric keypad, it says numlock. But let's see, maybe it will work. No. It's like saying screw you, conflict. Okay. Let's try it on normal keyboard. Let's try the letter M. Apply. Yeah, you know, I don't know what I'm doing here, but it doesn't like me. Nah, but let's see. We'll try Control M. Whoops. Control M, apply. Whoa, that was weird. Okay, Control M. Yeah, no, it doesn't like any combination I'm doing. Oh, I know why. I'm in the wrong source. At some point, it scrolled when I pressed page up. Probably. Okay, cool, cool. G-Track Pro, Control M. Let's erase it. Let's do like Shift M. Apply. Go over here. Huh, that's interesting. Why does it say that? Does it give you like a reason? Yeah, I'm only using that hotkey combo in one area. Now my question is, would I be having the same issues with Stream Deck? Now I would like to assume that Stream Deck either has very good documentation, telling you precisely how to set it up, or that the Stream Deck, you know, has some way of making it easier. Now, it says I was just looking at the Stream Deck logs. Okay, well, I'm not using Stream Deck. I want to know why, keypad, let's just say. Like, I just want to know why I'm getting a yellow exclamation point. You know, clearly a yellow exclamation point comes up when I do something. Why? You know, do I have to press, like, a unique combination of buttons? Like, surely this is not being used by another application. So if I do... Yeah, no, it doesn't like it. So let's try to type a really simple one. No hotkeys work in OBS. Let's just see. No, it's not. Oh, it didn't give me a yellow exclamation point. But it's not muting the audio either, so I think I know why this time. So let's go from the top. Erase the search criteria. Scroll down to my microphone, but under the correct Okay, so that time it did not like what I was doing. Yeah, like, it's not clear why it doesn't like what I'm doing, but it's generating this exclamation. One option is to run OBS as admin. So I'm gonna have to do more research on this. You know, I don't really want to mess with this on a stream right now because I want to ride my bike. The sun is beginning to set. Let's do one race in that game because I need to record material for my, what do you call it? Steam Deck, whatever the garbage is called. So to that end, I'm gonna just say, okay, Apollo bookmarks. I have a separate project in the works on the Apollo project. Alright, so now we got this. No, don't save changes. Okay, this project I'm gonna worry about later. Is it possible that I'm having a problem because I already installed this program and I shouldn't have installed it? Well, once again, I'm gonna watch some videos while I ride my bike. Yeah, it's a great idea, right? But I gotta mount on my bike for my phone. I'm gonna watch some videos on my bike. Okay. But yeah, this is a great program here. So what we got over here is multiple tracks, and if I play audio, I'm gonna unmute the track here. And as I, gone through it, I dredged through it, I've improved. So this is the second time I'm gonna do this set of events, but this time I'm much more able to drive. So basically what you're hearing there is, aside from me being raspy, is that I have two audio tracks that are identical, and you get a little bit of a, not an echo, but a reverb there when you have my, hey, what's up, Sadukar, 7th Legion? Yeah, man, thank you very much. I'm sorry that I'm not checking the chat. Nobody, showed up for a while, so I was like, not expecting it. And I do appreciate you dropping in. Wow, 8 minutes. Oh, I'm so sorry. Look at that. Analytics, man. What a killer. Like, says it right here. Man was here for 8 minutes. Oh. 8 minutes. Holy crap. Ugh. I really got to get in the habit of reading the chat, man. Ugh. Now I got to, like, apologize to this guy next time I see him on someone else's channel. So that's two things I need to do. I need like a way to have a mute button over here, right? Because I need to be able to mute and unmute whenever I'm doing stuff here. That's number one. Number two, I need to friggin' like have a way of seeing my chat. Like I noticed some people, like they'll put like a screen in like portrait mode and stick it off to the side and have like the chat log just scrolling through the entire thing. I got a monitor mount, a big pole sticking out of my desk, so I could find a way to position monitors in different positions. But right now I just have a square monitor sitting on top of a VCR. And yeah, like I miss a lot of chats sometimes, like unless I put them like on like this screen here, I miss them. And that's what happened here. But anyway, I'm glad, I'm appreciative that the person dropped in. I don't know if Sadukar has the channel. Check a little later. But anyway, Yeah, so you get this reverb audio thing. See now, like, you know how many times I look at the chat, I'm like this, you know, and it's nobody's there. But yeah, so we get our separate audio tracks. This program handles it really nicely. I want to ride my bike, so I think I'm just gonna like not go through the whole editing workflow, which kind of defeats the purpose, because my plan here was to actually get some editing done, but I kind of wasted time messing around with the other junk, you know. So real quick before we go, I need to record footage for a video about dirt rally racing. Alrighty, so we're gonna record footage. We're gonna record footage from the game Dirt Rally 2, and this is a continuation because the footage I just had in the editing software was for the purpose of whatchamacallit, for the purpose of actually combining it with this video. So actually, before I do anything, what I'm going to do is I got to full screen this because I need to make sure that OBS has this in the center. Good. Hey, what up, Sadokar, man? Yeah. See, I'm reading the chat this time. I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I need to get like a second monitor. Well, I got a second monitor. I need to have like something more like visible, and I actually have like a RAM mount, which is like a mount you would put on a bicycle basically, or on a motorcycle, and it's like a tablet sized phone mount that's clamped to my monitor pole. So the idea is that I would put this here up on the pole and have it extended a little bit more so that it's like in my line of sight, like, you know, somewhere near my main monitor, you know, and then I would be able to see the chats at a glance. Like, I need something like that. That would be my ideal solution, is just to have like a little chat panel off center, but like in the center basically, but right above the monitor. Barring that, I have to look to my secondary monitor, which is over here, and I want to do a video like Ryan Roger Athey, where he did like a tour of his desk, but my desk is a mess, so I gotta clean it before I do that. Okay, so we're gonna do a test run with Dirt Rally 2.0, and the purpose of this is just to like have, you know, footage that I can combine later on, because I want to do a video where I compare Steam Remote Play to local play. Basically, Steam Remote Play, NMS, do an NMS stream. NMS, wait, what the hell is NMS? NMS, No Man's Sky, yeah! It's a good game. I will do one soon. If I don't go out tonight, I would definitely do one. I might go out, I'm definitely riding my bike before sunset. That's a given. But before I do that, that is insane! You see that? I'm gonna just play this in, I have to play this in ultra widescreen mode, because if I don't, it's gonna give me a hard time. Okay, so anyway, got the game back up. See, this is bullshit, pardon my language. You see how the video panel is off to the left? I think that's because I optimized my settings for using the Steam Deck. So anyway, when I play this game on my TV, a lot of times I will use remote play so that the game loads quicker. And in addition to loading quicker, I can use 1080p because remote play enables you to use the graphics card in your desktop computer. Okay, I think we got it. Okay, good. So now, there is a way, I wanted to set this up to like regular 1080p, but as you can see, like getting the image to be centered, I don't want to really fidget with it right now, but I'm pretty sure all I gotta do is full screen, a windowed borderless or something like that. So it's like full screen, but not truly full screen. And then I can go into OBS without the image jumping and drag everything to the left and right. But for now, we're gonna, you know, do the stream in ultra widescreen mode. If I was really industrious, I would turn on my secondary webcam so that you can see my
Start
gamepad.
80, crest 50, flat left over big jump 50. Good luck.
Okay, so my headlights are
5,
busted,
4,
so we're gonna have to
3,
go through
2,
this without.
1, go. 80, crest 50.
I have a little bit of
Left
glare
over big
too,
jump,
which is a
50.
real bummer. And my engine is busted. You hear that? I might have to retire from this event
6 right, 120.
because this game is very realistic. Like, you know, they let you
6
wreck
right
your
over
car,
jump, continues long, into caution 2 left.
and so if you wreck your car enough, it will act sketchy. Like if you have good audio right now, you can hear the cars making these weird, like rattling noises.
Into 4 right, into 3 left long, opens
And
up a
rally
crest
car is cool
50.
because, like, basically you got a guy in your right side. If you
6 left,
you got a guy right here who I nearly killed, and he's your engineer, and he basically looks at that clipboard and tells you when to make a turn. But yeah, I busted the headlights onto this car during the previous race, so now
right
it's like
long, tightens at 3 of a
no
crest.
headlights. I'm driving at night. My engine is like all messed
Into
up.
3 left long,
My radiator
narrow.
is non-existent.
50.
Well, flat tire.
Middle of a big jump, into
No,
6
wait,
left.
that's my radiator. Really? How is this game in VR?
Into 5 right, don't
I mean,
cut.
like, I'm trying to, like, I'm seriously thinking about going to Valhalla Con, so
Into 5
I'm
left
realizing I
long,
have to rein
tightens,
in my spending. I
tighten 3
can't
right of a
make, like,
crest.
high-ticket purchases on cool shit like a VR headset. But, like, you know, as an astrophotographer, I've had to also be careful there because, you know, astronomy kit. Oh,
Into 4 right
man.
long of a
I
crest.
don't even want to talk about how much I
Into
spent on my
5
clothes.
left, 50.
But yeah, so, you know, I sometimes think about getting a VR thingamajig, and I don't want to get, like, Oculus Go. Although Oculus Go is one of the easiest, like, VR headsets to get up and
5
running.
right,
If I want something
into
cool,
don't
like,
cut, 3
you know,
left.
something I could hook up my, you know, display port, HDMI port, whatever they're using for these VR
Into
headset,
middle of a crest, caution 30.
And, you
2
know,
right, tightens of a crest,
to have
narrow.
a good, like, I want to run it on my PC, you know, I want to run real good quality PC games in VR. But it's not that important to me,
Into
it's
3
that
left.
if I did it,
Into
that's how I
3
would do
right.
it. Otherwise, I did buy a cheap VR headset. I did buy, you know, a couple of them. I bought Google Cardboard.
30.
I bought, what is it, some Chinese one for Noon VR.
5 left.
And that one was pretty good
Into 4 right.
for a
Keep
phone-based
straight to the
VR.
junction.
But yeah, I'd be curious how this runs in VR. I don't know if people do live streams. I guess they might do a live stream of their own and describe it, but they can't really show you how. Where do I go? Oh, I'm lost. Guys, so I might have to, like, retire here. Let me see. Let's see how far I can get. If I can get my
Into
car
4
fixed,
left long of a crest, tightens 2.
because you can only get your car
Right
fixed
long,
once every other
tightens.
race.
Into 5 left. We have an engine issue.
Oh.
Into 5 right. Into 3 left, tightens of a
Yeah,
crest.
screw it, man. I'm gonna retire before I, like, have to, like, you know, I wasn't careful before, so I kind of, like, really got my shit wrecked. Oh, 28th place. I'm improving. Okay, so I'm gonna start this over again, which is good because this time I'll be. Whoa. Actually, yeah, wait, I would like to repair my car. Now, when you're doing an event, you can only repair limited amounts of things. But I'm not getting charged to replace every part, so I figure let's replace every part. I pretty much did every upgrade I could do. I played Dirt Rally 4. I felt like it was more arcade style, whereas this one was a bit more challenging. But yeah, when you play this on a Steam Deck natively, like with no remote play, it takes so damn long to load. Like that loading screen, you sit there for like a good minute, like watching it rotate. So I'm gonna do one race and I'm gonna get off my ass and go ride my bike. And I'm recording.
Start 60, unseen 4 left small
so
cut,
I can use
55
this
right.
footage.
Good luck.
The only caveat is I'm gonna have to play this again later because I want to record this in 1920 by 1080p. I want to do like a direct apples to apples comparison.
3, 2, 1, go.
Like ultra widescreen might work
60,
for me,
unseen 4 left small cut,
but it's not
50.
gonna work for direct comparisons. So I usually like to
5
do
right.
this review. Oh,
80.
this is a new track. And I may
5
want to, at
left.
some point, I wouldn't be able to record or
30.
stream it, but I may want to try, well, I gotta stop
5
looking at
right,
the chat.
very long, opens of the crest, 40,
Every time I look at the chat, I drift. And not the good type of drift. Not like that. Yeah, that's the drift.
4 right, opens, slow, keep right into turn, 1 left long, 80. 6 left, 50, 4 right long, opens 50, early 5 left, extra long, opens over crests, 30, 5 right small cut, 50, 4 left long, tightens keep in 50, 4 right, extra long, tightens 3, 30,
I am not reading that. No, I'm kidding. I'm gonna read that in a second.
3 left long, opens 6 over crest, 60.
I'm totally gonna read that message in a second. I'm gonna wait till I crash. Like, if I crash while
6
trying,
right,
it means I
extra
need a
long over
break.
crest, 30, 4 right
I
long,
wanna,
keep in,
you as a viewer,
long
what looks
crest
better,
into
like
cut,
third
unseen,
person
2
view,
right.
dashboard view, I like this view when I'm playing on my TV, but I do find it a little
Into 3
dizzying right
left
now.
long, tightens,
It could be
into
because
3 right long, don't cut.
I don't know. I mean, like like I said, I gotta try this at
Left,
like 120
extra long.
hertz. My monitor is supposedly 200 hertz, but I think it's marketing. I don't think I really have a 200 hertz monitor. I don't buy it
Into
for a
4
second.
right.
I don't believe it. I bought it
Into 3
because everything
left.
else was good about the monitor, but
Opens.
I definitely question the 200 hertz refresh rate. I was playing a game, it escapes me right now, but loading times were ridiculous. I stopped playing it because of that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think, yeah, I mean, this looks very Scottish to me. I mean, it said it in the beginning, I'm sure. But yeah. And so, like, some games I found, like, you load the game up,
Into 4
and then
left,
for the rest of the
tightens
day,
over
if you're
bump.
outside your house,
Caution,
on a
don't
Steam
cut,
Deck,
1 right long
you
around
just put the
bridge.
Steam Deck into standby mode, and
Opens.
then you can open up the game, like, keep the game open and toggle in.
4
That's, like,
right,
one
extra
solution
long
to
over
dealing with the
crest.
loading time.
Into 6 left, into 3 right.
And I think, luckily, like, it's one of those devices that's very good about battery power.
Into 3 left, tightens.
I never really got into
Caution,
VR.
30, unseen,
I bought the
heavy
new
left,
VR, which
don't
is basically
cut.
like a plastic version of the Google Cardboard. It runs, a lot of the same apps. Google Noon VR comes with a few of its own things. But the weird thing about
70.
Noon VR looked like
Don't cut, 2 right.
a bunch of
Opens
software
up a crest.
developers got together
30.
and like put together footage. Because like it came with these video segments. It was like a guy going into a convertible with a girl. And
right,
it looked like
into
the
unseen,
software
heavy left
developer
long,
team
tightens
basically
over
recorded like
crest.
random videos using
30.
360-degree cameras in order to supply content to go with their VR
left.
headset, like technological demonstrator
Into 1
videos
right.
that were
Very
bundled
long,
as
tightens,
content.
don't cut.
But really, it was just like
Into open heavy left.
testing content
Tightens
on
over
their
crest
own. It
bump.
wasn't really like content, it was like test content. But it was an interesting set because, like, as far as going with Google Cardboard, the new VR looked like a good, solid plastic VR headset. It was adjustable. It had good lenses on it. You know, like it was quality. I have it still. So on the rare occasion I want to use my Galaxy Note 8 and do VR with it, I don't use Google Cardboard. I use Noon VR. I don't know if they still make it. I gotta look them up, see what they're up to. Now, as for proper VR, you know, I used to work tech support at Best Buy, and I remember I had this a couple of customers who we set it up for, but one occasion we had a kid, and he was complaining because the sales guy said that this laptop would do VR and everything else in the kitchen sink, and he was a little upset that, like, the setup curve was a little steep, and he couldn't get, like, perfect performance in VR on it, and, you know, in his case, it was like, look, you gotta lower your graphics settings. Like, you may have been promised the world by the sales guy, but I'm gonna tell you that even on my own computer that is moderately decked out, yeah, I can't run it in Ultra, you know what I mean? Like, or I wouldn't dare run it in Ultra and expect perfection out of it, you know? Really, thank you. I truly appreciate that information. You know how many times... Sound check? Okay. You know how many times I go on a live stream and at the beginning I'm like, how's my audio levels? And everyone's like, it's fine. Now, in a live stream, I'm only using one audio source, so it makes sense. But let's see how that goes. Let me know if I need to adjust it. I definitely, I look for feedback. I need it.
36 left.
Good.
Good luck.
Because I can hear it no matter what. If I lower the volume, I can hear it fine. Because it doesn't change my volume. And furthermore, when I edit the video, I can goose up the gain on the audio track, so it's not an issue to lower it. So definitely let me know how the audio levels are, because unless I open up, you know, a separate window or YouTube on my phone, I can't tell. Ooh. Yeah, so first time I played this game, I remember like flipping over like instantly, like I had so much horsepower and the car was like tumbling like from going like 10 feet. But yeah, definitely let me know. Oh, body damage. Yeah, I'd probably go nuts playing this in VR. But yeah, so anyway, I was doing tech support, and customer was, you know, kid was promised the world, and I was like, buddy, you gotta make compromises. Everyone makes compromises in configuring their games. Then I get it, he was like a young teenager, early teenager, so somewhat headstrong. Yep, see, yep, you used to love trolling IT guys, see? That's funny, man. Yeah, I mean, like, I've had mixed reviews with tech guys. Like, when I was younger, like, some of them were really nice and they would answer questions. Some of them I noticed would give you, like, kind of like, you know, like cookie cutter answers. Like, I have a light bulb on my laptop screen that's dead. It's like, oh, you can get a light bulb for that. I remember a guy, Nobody Beats the Wiz. I don't know if you know about the Wiz, but... yeah, like a guy was saying, oh yeah, you just gotta get a light bulb for the monitor. And apparently that is totally not how any of that works. So if your laptop monitor back in like 1998, let's say we had a monitor, the light bulb actually failed inside of it, you gotta get a whole new display panel. That light bulb, that cold cathode fluorescent is married to the LCD panel. And sometimes, like, I've learned later on when I worked at Best Buy, like when I was like 15, even a little older than when I went to the Wiz, but when I was 15, I would sometimes like be like, oh, this tech guy, he's full of shit. Then when I started working tech, I started realizing there is a balance to be struck. Like, you can't be too idealistic. If you're too good at tech support, or if you try to go above and beyond, no good deed goes unpunished. You gotta strike a balance. It's okay to help people and do right by them, definitely, but you gotta definitely pick your favorite customers and serve the ones who are worth serving well. But yeah, so like, you know, like, I had a couple of, like, headstrong teenagers. I remember, like, I was using the technical term for hyperthreading, and he's like, I was calling it SMT, and he's like, it's not SMT, it's hyperthreading. I'm like, buddy, it's basically the same thing. Like, it is the trade name. You got the marketing name, hyperthreading, and SMT, simultaneous multi-threading, is like basically what they were calling hyperthreading before it was a thing. It's not exactly the same, but it's basically the same. Oh my god. EMMS to get wing command. What is EMMS? EMMS. What the heck is that? Wing command, I know of that though. That's a good game. Whew. Yeah, I used to be way worse at this game. I'm not great at this game, but I no longer crash as much.
Into 6 left, 30 unseen, open hairpin right.
I think I got some tearing on my monitor. I think I could turn on like V-Sync, vertical sync. So when I do my next test, I'm definitely gonna do vertical sync if it's not enabled already. Because that's another thing, when you do remote play, apparently you disable vertical sync on the host PC and it looks fine on the TV.
30,
Now to use remote play, you want your Steam Deck hooked up by a gigabit Ethernet connection. Whatever USB-C adapter you're using, like an HDMI to USB-C adapter, you would also need to have a gigabit Ethernet adapter or maybe a USB-C adapter that has both HDMI and gigabit. You could do it over Wi-Fi, but you know, conditions on Wi-Fi, even the best Wi-Fi networks have variable conditions that are dictated by the surrounding environment.
into turn 4 left, into unseen.
Wi-Fi has gotten better, but there was a time where Wi-Fi would act up just because your neighbor turned on a microwave. And holy shit! Hey, by the way, Sourdough, do me a favor. Let me know if the video is low frame rate on your end, because I'm looking at the OBS preview window, and I'm just noticing now that I'm not getting the same frame rate. So let me know, because I definitely want to like adjust stuff on my end.
Into 1 left, small cut.
And if anything, I'll watch the YouTube stream myself later on, and I'll find out if it's, you know, choppy. But I saw a couple of instances where for whatever reason it looked good on my screen, but when I looked at my secondary display, I had a low frame rate. EMS, high memory. Oh yeah. HiMem.sys. Oh yeah, EMMS, extended memory subsystem. Yeah, that shit. Yeah. EMM 386. That was another one I remember, or at least I don't know if the EMMS is the same, but I remember EMM 386 in the Windows 3.1 icons, and that a lot of games absolutely required that you had EMMS in some form.
Into 4 right, 50, 6 right, opens.
I gotta stop. That's mad funny. I'm reading the screen while driving this. Yo, I swear, do people die at rally car racing? I mean, like, you know, I remember in the 90s, people used to die at monster truck rallies. I used to say to my dad, like, oh, I want to go to a monster truck rally. He'd be like, people die at those. And a couple of times there was like an incident where the truck would, like, you know, pile drive into the crowd or some crazy shit.
Into 3
It's
right.
not back. More than watchable, but it is a high frame game. Okay, so
Opens of a crest.
I gotta investigate that later. I'm definitely gonna investigate that, because if I'm, you know, getting significant chop, I will address it.
Crest of a finish. To stop. Well done.
Because I understand, see, this is like an example of one of those things I was talking about, the VR headset and the customer who didn't want to make compromises. Like, you know, it was a kid, in one instance I had a kid at the Geek Squad counter, and, you know, he was like, I can't stream and play the game on Ultra. And I'm like, well, yeah, I bet you can't. So, you know, in my case, I may be pushing it. Yeah, look at that. Like, It could be also some of that preview window will be lower priority, but I'm looking at my hands right now and they're all choppy. I'm pulling this up on YouTube. I gotta see this. Cause like, now it's not choppy. Yeah, now it's not choppy. Oh, that's so cool. Whew. Ouch. So you got a rally competition in Scotland called Snowball Rally, and it got canceled 3 years in a row when a car went off track and killed. See that? Like, I'm seeing the people off like the side here, and I'm saying like, maybe like rally car drivers are better than me. I mean, they are. I'm sure they are. But I'm like, holy shit, you know, I go off the track, the game, you know, resets me, puts me back on the track. But in real life, I'm like curious how often that happens, and that's very interesting. Okay, so real quick, I want to do a diagnostic dry run, and then I'm out of here. Because I gotta ride my bike. Am I even streaming right now? I mean, of course I'm streaming, you're watching me. Okay, here it is. Okay, good. Oh great, there's like a 5-second delay. Okay, that's okay. Well, I'm not skipping now, you know? 1, 2, okay, so I'm skipping on my screen here, but I think I look good on my mobile. I know I look like a madman doing this, but yeah, I got like, yeah, it's like a night. This is actually good. Okay, so you know what's happening? This is fine. OBS is running its video at a lower priority when the game is in the focus window. So the game gets like priority in full screen mode, and OBS looks like it's skipping, but it's really not. So we're good. Okay, I think we're good. I'll investigate it later, but it looks good. So yeah, the Steam Deck is pretty good. I mean, like I said, like some games will take long to load, and you know, almost like you know, you would not want to play those games. But overall, like, you know, they made compromises. The screen runs at 720p, 800p technically, and I think it looks good. You know, I mean, like, it's like your eyes can't really perceive that detail, and you once again can sacrifice detail. It runs hot depending on the quality settings you're using, which I'm entirely fine with. If a device is running hot, that means I'm getting my money's worth, so I'm a happy camper there. You know, CPU, GPU, both quite acceptable. Emulation, like that right there, like, is the main reason I bought it, because I knew it would play all of the emulators, because I've always had like too many compromises. Like, sure, I could play Game Boy on my phone, but I want to play like another game system like PlayStation or N64. Not so much PlayStation. I mean, not so much N64. I don't like emulating N64. I run N64 on native hardware because I just find N64 doesn't emulate well. But, you know, in general, it's just that there's a lot of things you'll do on a phone when it comes to emulators, like Super Nintendo. And it can be challenging to keep track of all of the buttons, especially when you start dealing with trigger buttons. So having a device that has native, you know, trigger buttons and analog sticks and really fast hardware is really phenomenal for emulators. That said, like I said, like some N64 games emulate well, others don't emulate at all. PlayStation has better support, so I think the Steam Deck, when it comes to PlayStation support, is going to be awesome. It has been pretty good so far. I want to get actually a game, Dune 2000. I want to get the Dune game for PlayStation 1 and try it out on my Steam Deck, but I have no doubt it'll work well. Xbox emulation works, but I'm not really gonna follow through on that because I played Crimson Skies on, you know, the Steam Deck using the Xbox emulator, and whenever you use the turbo boost in Crimson Skies, everything just the frame rate goes to like 5 frames a second. So intolerable. I'm not playing that game on a Steam Deck. I refuse to make compromises. I have a modded Xbox. I will play. I even own a legit copy of Crimson Skies, but I'm just gonna play that on native hardware. If there's a PC version, I think there is a PC version of Crimson Skies, so I may be able to finagle that working if it doesn't already work. I think I have it in GOG, so if it's in GOG Games, I can run it in desktop mode, but I think I could finagle, you know, some ways of getting that working a few different ways. You got a PS2, 3, 4 Pro. PS5 is hard to get still, which right there, that alone is like a reason for me not to get it, you know, for anyone not to get it. You know, it's like if they're not gonna like address the scalping thing or something, like I'm not saying, you know, be communist, but I mean, Valve did a pretty good job of like, you know, keeping the scalpers at bay with their strategy of, you know, reserving the games and consoles and, you know, releasing them in waves. So that's kind of cool on their part. My thing is like, PC games, like, I can understand why, you know, for less than my graphics, let's see here. Yeah, that's one thing about PC gaming, you know, back in the day, I was more of a proponent for, you know, console gaming because I did feel that, you know, especially if I was recommending it for someone else, I'd say, well, look, no bullshit. You get up and running, you play your game, you know, you don't have to like configure, you don't have to make sure you have the right hardware, you don't have to do anything convoluted. But on the other hand, now, ever since PlayStation 4 and Xbox, what the hell was it called? Xbox One? It's basically a, 8-core AMD processor or APU with like 8 gigs of RAM. Maybe I think they use shared RAM or something like that, video memory shared with the main memory. And like, it's got a lot in common with a PC. Now, some people may still be happier. Go for it. You know, I'm not saying dissuading anyone. I would never dissuade somebody who doesn't want to pay $1 million for a graphics card and wants things just to work. Consoles will still deliver in that regard. So yeah, I'd say totally. But you know, like at this point, like my last desktop before this was an AMD FX 8-core. That was pretty comparable to what I could get out of a console at the time. So I didn't see a reason to go with PS4 anymore. But what I like is that now that the architectures are similar enough that you can actually, you know, they can actually port games to both PC and PlayStation. There were some games that, you know, ported poorly from one to the other, or you couldn't even run certain games on, you know, one platform or the other. Yep. And then MAME, yeah, dude, MAME on an original Xbox is pretty cool. And I think if there were games, I don't know if any of the MAME titles are, you know, hard to run on an old Xbox, but that would be a motivation to run it on a 360 or newer platform. You know, I got like some stuff set up on my Wii, but my Xbox is really decked out. The Wii is fairly well decked out. I wanted to sync my game save data using secure FTP, so at some point I want to automate that a little better. My biggest challenge was getting like emulator save data unified across everything, because there would always be like, I could get the same emulator for 2 out of 3 platforms, but then the third device, like my phone, didn't support the same emulator. And the whole thing I want is I want to be able to like play a game on my TV and then sync it, or put the SD card from the Nintendo Wii in the computer and sync it, and then play the same save game on my phone. Now, I have a device, I can put Game Boy game saves on the computer and put them back on the cartridge. So that, you know, if I want to ever get into a Game Boy game, I can actually play on native hardware and play it on my phone. But, you know, PS5, the biggest thing about PS5 that interests me, well, that interests people in my, I mean, I don't know about other people, is the rumble feature. I hear that one does some cool stuff. Like if you're driving in sand, you feel like you're driving in sand. If that's true, okay, that's interesting. But otherwise, you know, not really jumping at it either. You know, I mean, I got what I need here. This machine probably doesn't need another upgrade for a little while. Yeah, and sometimes it can be a bit burnout, you know, like you say, fuck it, I don't want to look at a PC after working on everyone's computer today. Sometimes, depends. And like, I used to think like, you know, everything was so cool. I used to be so bright-eyed and optimistic. I'd be like, oh man, new technology, yay. And like back in like 2000, 1999, 2000, things were, you know, doubling all the time, but it starts to get old pretty much, you know, depending on what different people like get bored with it, you know. But you know, like, so with the Steam Deck, you can have as long or short a battery life as you want. You know, you crank up your settings, it gets hot, it eats battery power like no tomorrow. You lower your settings, and you get, you know, sacrifice quality, but you get a longer battery life. So I really do like being in the driver's seat there. I, for one, am not planning on doing any kind of Nintendo Switch emulation. I got a Nintendo Switch because I've already owned it, and if I ever want to use my Nintendo Switch when I'm going somewhere, maybe I want to go somewhere where I don't want to carry a USB power bank that's like this big, I'll play with my Nintendo Switch, which has a very, very, very good battery life. I've never emptied the battery on my Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it would be hard to part with the C64 games, even if you were to back them up. And if you were to back them up, you know, then at least you still have the game. But I can understand the sentimental attachment. And then there's always the risk that, like, the price will go up on them and that you sold it too soon. But I don't know what the odds of that is. Yeah, I hear you. Let's see here. How do I get out of here? But yeah, I'm gonna definitely play this again later in, like, if I don't go out tonight. Play this later on in, like, 1080p mode. Regular 1080p, not ultra widescreen. Okay, I did have VSync on, so there was no issue there. I wish I kept the task manager open. I want to see what the temperatures are. Yeah, it doesn't really tell us much because I already closed the game. Temperatures, moderately. Yeah, you know, I mean, like, a friend kept trying to sell me a PlayStation Vita, and, you know, I'm just like, I'm kind of good on it. I'm totally good on it. Like, I saw like a video, I think it was a guy named Wolf Den. He did a video on the PS Vita, and like, or he modded a PS Vita because people recommended it, and it was like a hit or miss for him. Like, some aspects were easy and other aspects were a huge pain in the butt. And you know, I mean, like, sometimes think about modding my Nintendo. If I had two Nintendo Switches, I'd definitely mod it. I don't even know if my model can be modded, and I already bought a shit ton of games from Nintendo, so I'm afraid to, like, you know, get blacklisted, so as another motivation. Whereas the Steam Deck, like, I actually deferred purchases for the Nintendo, so there were games I wanted to buy for Nintendo. I didn't buy them because I knew they would be available for Steam, and, you know, I figured if I buy it for Steam, like what we just did now, I played Dirt Rally. I could play it on my Steam Deck, directly on the Steam Deck, or via remote play, or I could play it on my home PC. So that was cool. The moddable Switch, my only concern is I think the early Switch models, some of them, not all of them, but some of the early models had bad or battery issues of some kind. And maybe, you know, I don't think that covers all of the moddable units, so, you know, chances are it's not that big of an issue. When I was working at Best Buy, consumer electronics retailer, a lot of people would come in. I remember when the moddable one was still on the shelf, people would, you know, check the serial number before, you know, buying it. So that was interesting. So they did have a TV version. I remember with the PlayStation Portable, they had like AV cables, component cables for it, for certain models. And so, yeah, it makes sense to have a portable device that also plugs into the TV, whatever that device is. Game Gear, apparently Sega Game Gear had support for that, which is really cool. But, you know, between that and the homebrew, and Vita looks like a nice compact device. I vaguely remember it had like a touch control thing on the back, or at least on certain models. I vaguely remember seeing something where like it was almost like a touchpad mouse on the back. I don't know what that did exactly, but you know, definitely pretty flexible. What was the other device I had? I used to use Pocket PC, Windows mobile devices. Those were hit or miss, but it was really cool to at least play Nintendo on them. The heck was, oh, the modified 3DS. Now, most people don't like 3DS, but I bought a Nintendo 3DS and from a friend secondhand. He already modded it, and that I was very happy because I wanted to play Star Fox in 3D. And basically, I already owned the game. I forgot why I bought it, but yeah, I already owned it, or I bought it like a week before I bought the device. And Zelda, yeah, Ocarina, but you know, the 3D feature, not everyone wants it, but it was like, yeah, you know, I want to play with this gimmick. I want, like, you know, this is the only like differentiator about this portable device. I want to play games with the 3D on, you know, from time to time. And so that, you know, I'm very, very happy with that purchase, but you know, I don't think I could hook it up to the TV. Sure, like, the thing is, if I can't hook it up to the TV, the device better have something cool like 3D. So that's how I'm seeing. And the NVIDIA Shield, right? Is that what it was? The NVIDIA Shield? That, and there was, I think, a Steam device that you hook up to the TV. And those two devices interested me for similar reasons why I use Remote Play. Interesting. That's good information. I appreciate that. So, you know, NVIDIA Shield I almost bought because I was having trouble with my media server. I use MB Media Server, and I usually use it on a Chromecast. But this thing gave me like so much grief until I figured out the issue that was, you know, causing my video issues. Certain movies would skip a lot, and until I solved it, it was just an exercise in frustration. So I almost bought an NVIDIA Shield because, you know, it basically would do what I wanted to do and then some. Professor Layton. Who is Professor Layton? That sounds like the guy from Star Trek. That's Admiral Layton. Yeah, there was a guy named Professor Layton, Admiral Layton on Star Trek. And he was in on a conspiracy to revolt or some crap. But let's take a look here. Oh, interesting. Yeah, never played it. It's got a pretty long running series. Ah, that's why. Interesting. That looks fun. Yeah, you know what? I can either buy it or potentially obtain it through some other means. I might already have this game. I'll have to check. I'll try it out if I have it already. Cool. I appreciate recommendations. But yeah, so that basically covers that. Mr. Saudercar 7th Legion. I don't know if you actively update your channel, if you have a channel, or you just are a YouTube viewer. But of course, you know, you're more than welcome to share out a channel link if you got one. You know, I remember last puzzle game I played on DS, like when I had my DS Lite, which I still have. Oh yeah, it's right here. Yeah, so I remember years ago I was playing a game called Brain Age on here. That was an interesting, kind of interesting game, you know, I mean, like, for some reason it got really popular for 5 minutes. A lot of little DS games got popular for 5 minutes. But that wasn't bad, and but this looks good. I'm seeing like the pictures, and I see some mazes and other stuff. I don't know. I'm gonna keep this picture tab open so I remember to check for this game later on so I can try it out. Yeah. So speaking of, so if I stream a game on a DS, how would I go about doing that? I could play a DS emulator on a PC. Alternatively, I can use my secondary webcam. Is my secondary webcam on right now? Yeah. Excuse the mess on my desk. That's my astronomy camera. So my plan right now is to go outside, ride my bike, get some exercise done before the sun completely sets, and then maybe if the weather is right and I don't go out, I might even do astronomy tonight. Yeah, so like the modded DS, I don't doubt it because like I have a device called Max Media Player, like this thing here, and basically there's like a 1 gigabyte cartridge that should be in my desk drawer right now that you put in the, you know, Game Boy Advance slot, and you run apps on it. Like, it's pretty interesting. When I first got it, I didn't know how to update the firmware or whatever it is on it, so I couldn't run a lot of the newer downloads on it. And then the SD adapter, yes, that brings it to the next level. So I have a Game Boy Micro in the other room along with my 3DS. And the Game Boy Micro, I bought a flash cartridge with an SD card slot on it. And it gives me a lot of functionality too. I don't think I could really do much with the SD card slot in here, but now that you mention it, I did buy something. Shit, I got it. It's still in the box. I recently did buy a cartridge, like a flash cartridge, possibly with an SD card slot for my DS. I bought it for a different reason. I bought it because I forgot I had a program, an app that runs on the SD card that lets you back up game save data from the, you know, Game Boy Advance slot. But I bought it thinking that I could put Pokemon games in there. And then I realized after getting it that you can't put Pokemon in here, that, you know, the cartridge obviously won't go in. So no big deal because I bought a different device, but I gotta find that flash cartridge when I get time and see what I can do with it. Because, like, my only issue, look, I love the 3DS, but, I mean, I love the regular DS Lite, but this thing always used to be disappointment for me. Like, I'd go out, I would think the battery was charged, I'd go to use it, the battery was dead every time I wanted to play it. Then, on days when I fully had it charged, I didn't find time to play it, or I accidentally left it in sleep mode when I did finally get to play it, and then later in the day, on my lunch break, the battery was dead. So, I always had, like, some crap, you know, about this. Now, recently, when I got the 3DS and the Game Boy Micro, I bought USB charge cables for both of them. So, if I don't currently have a USB charge cable for this, I would definitely buy one because that is freaking cool. Like, you know, I always have some kind of USB power bank in my bag. So, that's a game changer. That makes this way more useful if you have a USB power bank or the ability to plug one in. And I did buy something like that. Like, I don't know if it's the SD2 or... Oh, Vita. Okay, the SD2 Vita. Yeah. I was the one, the guy, that Wolf Den guy did a video about, at least what I watched. And there was some, like, sketchy support. I don't even know what the support was, but, like, I remember some crap like that. Yeah, I'm a hoarder. I'm a pack rat. No, I'm kidding. But, you know, I got, like, a lot of random shit here. Sometimes I've been thinking about doing videos where, like, I just kind of pick up random shit and I do a video about it. Like, you know, like this here is like a Bluetooth to Wi-Fi thing I use for my temperature sensors. You know, SSD to serial ATA. I got a 3D printed Orville. If I put it on a green stick, if I take my green tape and I hold it in front of my hand, I can hold it in front of the background and make it look like it's in space. That's kind of fun. But, you know, so, like, at some point, I do plan on doing, like, some, like, videos where, like, I just kind of go and show off bullshit. My biggest thing is I find that when I do a stream, it's pretty easy to do a stream, right? You roll with it, you know, it's not bad. But when you do videos, like, it's madness. Like, like, I record a video in OBS, and I don't get around to editing it for like a week later. If I'm really task-oriented, I'll remember what video, I'll start editing it, and then I'll finish the edit weeks later. But other times, I'll lose track of the file and date. So what I started doing is I give names to the files. Whenever I record something, I'll give it a meaningful name so that I know what file, what source content I want to edit, you know? And that's trying to get a little more organized because, you know, you can't, sometimes, you know, it takes longer to edit a video than you want to take. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely, like, you know, having some means of charging these things comes in handy. You know, last Orville series was alright. What happened was I didn't watch season 1 until, like, you know, past the year. Like, sat down and watched it all from season 1 and 2. And I was like, holy crap, this is great. I felt at home. I was like, this is like watching Star Trek. It's got that, you know, Star Trek TNG Voyager vibe to it. And it was funny. It made me laugh. And then season 3 wasn't terrible, but like, you know, it got like a little bit more messagey, you know, like not terrible though. You know, Seth MacFarlane reserves the right to his artistic license, and you know, he still used allegory, but you know, it was okay. But I can see why maybe there wasn't as much of an uproar to get another season. I mean, I hope they do something. You know, it would be nice, but if they don't do anything else, at least they didn't leave us with a cliffhanger or anything like a permanent cliffhanger. I've had a lot of sci-fi shows like Crusade, the Babylon 5 spin-off, where like you pretty much have to find like scripts and storyboards to understand what happens after that ends. Oh yeah, well, you know, he had me on for his Orville stream, which was nice. And what happened was I was tuning in after the Orville every week for the first 2 weeks, like clockwork. So I think what happened was he noticed I was tuning into the chat, and he just kind of like drew me in. He was like, "Ron's a member of the panel now," and I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah!" You know, I was like, "I'm not gonna say no." And so, you know, like sometimes like if he needs someone or wants someone on, you know, I'm happy to join. A lot of times he gets pretty good, knowledgeable people. You know, there's certain things that are not my wheelhouse in detail. And, you know, I'm relatively new to the streaming thing, you know, but actually my first stream on YouTube, first live stream on YouTube, was on his stream in February. It was about Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. So, like, I kind of always want to do more YouTube things, but I've always had, like, attempts where I start on YouTube and I just say, ah, screw it. And this time I said, okay, I did a live stream, gained a little confidence because I'm really camera and microphone shy. I mean, I even bought a new microphone because I knew I'd be way more comfortable talking into a microphone if I had a better microphone. And yeah, you know, you just roll with it, you know? And like, you know, so like once in a while, that's what happens. And then you get guys like Whooper Trooper and everything is Pokemon. Now, he does Stardew Valley streams, you know? And like, he got me thinking, I'm like seeing him play Pokemon and I'm like, I want to freaking put a Pokemon cartridge in my computer, back up the game save data before the battery dies. I still got to do that. I still got to like, you know, I still got to like do a video about this. Basically, like you put the battery, you solder it in, you restore the backed up save data via this adapter, and then this should be good for another 20 years. And, you know, I only own, like, Pokemon Red right now. I had a Pokemon Yellow. Got stolen in junior high school. Yo, Babylon 5 blew my mind. I started watching it in 2017. Blown me away. I was like, what am I missing out on all my life? So, yeah, good show. Yeah, Crusade... like, was the one where right now there's a guy... Shit, did he do a stream today? There's a guy, he has a YouTube channel called the Ambassadorial Wing. And he has like a group of people he calls the Ambassadors, and they talk about Babylon 5. And, you know, he's doing the Crusade, and he's doing Crusade in proper watch order. And that's important because apparently when they put it on like TBS or whatever network, they had the episodes way out of order, like just like, you know, in the wrong order. And they did it because, you know, marketing and syndication or some bullshit like that, ratings. I think they also wanted the show to fail. Warner Brothers, if you want read John Michael Straczynski's book, they really wanted Warner Brothers or the executives at the time really wanted the show to fail. So when you're doing a TV show, they the studio will give you notes on what they want you to do, improve the show or whatever. But they were really just trying to sabotage the show. They were like, take Darvina, the lady who's like the lockpick, and have her be like a sex-crazed alien. And it was like bullshit to basically ruin the show. Farscape was good too. Like, in fact, so what happened was after watching Babylon 5 like twice, I was like, I can't keep watching it multiple times in a row, at least not, you know, back to back. So I had to find something else, and Farscape was it. I watched Farscape, enjoyed it tremendously. You know, I could take a break from it for a while, but it was a very good show. And then immediately after finishing Farscape, I watched Peacekeeper Wars. and it was all pretty good. Like, they're well executed. I like that, like, the show ended, but they found a way to finish it out. There were some interesting intricacies because apparently the bearded guy, does the voice of the pilot on Farscape. But when they did the movie, they didn't have, like, the audio equipment from the TV show. So apparently it's like when you hook up a bunch of guitar pedals and you know, run it through different fuzz pedals. The audio to do the voice for the pilot, they had it rigged for the TV show, but they didn't do it in software. It was all analog. So they had to figure out how to manually put that back together, and they never quite got it right. And so you ended up with, like, a voice that was slightly different. But also, if you film a TV show in Europe or Australia and it's on a different power line frequency, like 50 hertz instead of 60 hertz, the audio actually plays a little bit higher pitched when you transfer it from over there to over here, or vice versa. I forget which direction, but if you convert audio from like 60 hertz to 50 hertz or 50 hertz to 60 hertz power line frequency, you have a more noticeable change that's harder to correct for. So there was a couple of, like, supposed factors. Yeah, you know, I mean, Crusade, I heard, was a terrible time for a lot of areas. They were playing it in a bad time slot. And, you know, they could have done more with it. Like I said, like, they wanted it to fail, you know. But I think the concept was sound. You know, the Drock did their thing. The Drock were left behind, those assholes, and they leave a plague on Earth. You know, it's an interesting concept. The fact that they have this Excalibur class ship, I thought it was super cool too. I really did like that. You know, it was like Vorlon technology mixed with, like, something not so Vorlon, like, almost looked human. You know, but, like, if you watch Crusade in the correct watch order, it's a bit more tolerable. It's a bit easier to stick with it. So I would definitely recommend it. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I liked it. And watching in the right watch order, following along with the ambassadorial wing on YouTube, which, let's see if I can find them real quick. Man, it's like the most people watch my stream in a while. Like, I've been dying to leave, not really dying to leave, but, you know, and like it's already basically sunset outside. Like, it's like dusky outside. You can see, like, blue out there, but it's basically sunset. And so if this guy here, the ambassadorial wing, yeah, if you're into Babylon 5 and you want to watch people talking about episodes you saw 10 years ago, they're currently keeping up to date. They're currently watching Crusade. Now, my only fear is what happens. Did they already do the whole show? I don't know how long these guys have been streaming. But did they already do all of Babylon 5? Because if they went through season 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, then I'm screwed. Because they can't go back and talk about season 1 again, can they? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yes, like episode 5, season 1. I think they do random episodes. So there may be, like, other episodes they can go over. Like, if they get bored, they could recap or, like, do episodes that, like, worst episode list or something funny like that. Yeah, you know, I mean, I appreciated Enterprise a little bit, but then, like, I got bored with it and didn't watch it and it got canceled. But when I revisited it years later, I was like, this wasn't bad. I think I judged it hard because, like, in the beginning, things got slow. Then you had the Xindi stuff, and I felt like the Xindi thing reminded me too much of the War on Terror, which wasn't a problem, you know, in terms of the war part. It's just that, like, it felt like they were trying to go for action, you know, like, let's turn up the action to make it cool. And I found it hard to believe a planet that had, like, 6 different intelligent species on it. But, you know, I also appreciated the thinking outside of the box. So, you know, there was that. Yo, Whooper Trooper, I appreciate you, buddy. You know, it's funny, sometimes I do these bike streams and nobody tunes in. Like, if you ever see bike stream, I want people to tune into that shit, yo. I'm not doing a bike stream today, but, like, I basically mount my phone to the handlebars of my bike. And I, like, you know, been working on it, but the hard thing was I want the ability to read the chat while riding my bike. I want to ride my bike, talk to the camera, show an external camera view showing the front of my bike, as well as the selfie camera, and to be able to read the chat. And the problem I was having was that I couldn't read the chat at the same time I was streaming. So I get this mount here. This thing here. And it lets me clamp my phone to the handlebars of my bike. I use a shorter, you know, rod. But I use like the 1-inch rod or 3-inch rod. But the reason you need this is because to have like multi-window running, you can't do multi-window mode on the Galaxy Fold with the outer screen. You gotta have it like this if you want to do multi-window. So in order to read the chat while live streaming at the same time, I needed to have it like this. The problem is the folding screen is freaking crazy delicate. So you put it in this mount and you rotate it a little bit like this to lock it. This like locks it shut. I think it better lock it shut. Well, yeah, partially it locks it shut on one axis. But if it rotates while you're riding your bike, now it will pop out on its own. So you're really supposed to take this rubber thing and attach it to the corners in order to use it as a security policy, as a what do you call it? Yeah, like a security policy, you know. Oh, I got good news. So, okay, I was invited to my friend's house tonight. So I think I am going to do a bike stream, guys. Now, you don't have to tune in. I really appreciate you guys dropping in today. But anyway, to finish what the thought, I was just, I'm like having ADD right now. This is funny. But yeah, you know, I totally understand Whooper Trooper. And I know that nobody would ignore a stream unless, look, somebody might see something and say, this is not for me. And I respect that. And also the video quality on the bike streams was kind of blurry. That's cool. See, I appreciate that honesty and feedback, Mr. Saddlecar Warrior. Right? By the way, your name is named after the Saddlecar Legion from Dune. Is that correct? I was actually thinking about this the other day. I forgot. Your name came up because I was like, guy on Reddit. In fact, fun fact, I am a moderator on Reddit. I kid you not. I'm not, I'll prove it. I am a Reddit mod. I am a liberal. No, I'm kidding. So, deadass, I am a Reddit moderator here on this page here. This is the Plasma TV subreddit because I'm a big aficionado of plasma display panels. And like, there's apparently 5 people on here right now. Like, I really got to do some like work here, like do some graphical theming. So this guy here posted a picture of his like new plasma TV that he got secondhand. And this is the cool part. Assuming that Saddlecar has something to do with Dune, on the left side of his shelf over here, he's got Dune 2000. And so I was like, I gotta get this game. I want to load this game onto my Steam Deck. And, you know, just like, you know, play a PlayStation game. Sorry. Yeah, I just had to type a message real quick. So, you know, there's that. So this, okay, so this is story time. So I'm riding my bike. I got the short version of the mounting arm on my bike. My phone is in tablet mode. Okay, now I ride a mountain bike and I ride over bumps and curbs and shit. You know, just that's something you do. Because it's a mountain bike. That's what it's supposed to do, you know. And I hit a bump and the fucking phone pops out and face plants into the ground. And it totally sucked because the screen on the phone that broke was already kind of partially busted, so it definitely made the screen stop working. Now the good news is the phone I'm holding in my hand right now had one defect, which you can't really see, but you see those 2 spots in the middle? They have like a rainbow colored thing going on it because a while ago I had something land on the screen. So this is the thing, folding screens are not durable. It's got to be made of a soft material, okay? And I had it on my bed like this, and I threw a textbook at my bed, and it landed on the screen like this. And apparently, like, the middle part of the screen was super sensitive. And, like, if I go into, like, side-by-side view. Oh, yeah. Totally, configure video. Yeah, so you can see those rainbow colors where the 2 dots are right here. It's got this rainbow color thing going on. So, yeah, that was the only issue with this phone here. But the issue was the exterior screen on here, when I bought it for my friend secondhand, had 2 green and purple lines because he left it in front of a heating vent or something like that. Like, he cooked the phone screen, basically. But now I had a phone that had a good outer screen, this one, and a bad, like a really, well, I'm sorry, the other phone had a good outer screen, but a busted inner screen. So I had to swap the outer screen from this, from the other unit and put it onto this unit here. So now the other phone has a busted outer screen that still works and a busted inner screen that doesn't work at all. But otherwise, the outer screen is 150 bucks. The inner screen is 600 bucks. This inner screen is 600 freaking bucks. So I was like not having it. I'm like, I am not paying 600 bucks. Yo, go for it, man. I'll try to drop in later on. And thank you for dropping in, Whooper Trooper. Good luck on your stream. I'll definitely drop in and drop a like. If I'm riding my bike at the time, I won't participate in the chat. Hard to type like that. But that's good because I'll be able to watch this stream. You know, it's easy to watch a stream when you're riding your bike. It's hard to do the chat thing. But, yo, Godspeed. May the Schwartz be with you. Where's my... Ah! Yeah, I was on Nerdporeal Lifeform the other day, and he goes, "What is that background?" So I did this joke. I was like, "I'm getting sucked into space," and like, you know, shit was funny. But yeah, Super Dimension Macross, Super Dimension Fortress Macross. I knew it. So your tag is from Dune. Cool. Fucking Whooper's mad funny. Yo, Whooper cracked a joke. He said, "Reddit mod, I thought you were cool." He's not wrong, yo. Reddit mods are assholes. Like, I'm the coolest Reddit mod if I speak for myself here. I mean, this is like laissez-faire right here. People post things. I only take posts down if they're outright nasty. Because, like, if you're going to be nasty and off topic, then, you know, you can moderate, you know? If this was, like, politics page and people were talking about politics, then no, I don't have a right to take down your post. I mean, you have a right, but I think that's a dick move. But, you know, people were talking about plasma TV, pictures of their plasma TV with other things, about doing things with a plasma TV. And, you know, so that's an interesting question. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even... This is why I bought this keypad here. I didn't set it up, but I was hoping to use this numeric keypad to set up macros. I think I'm just going to spend 150 bucks and buy a stream deck so that I can have those, you know, lit up buttons that let you switch inputs. Yeah, so it's $600 screen. A pain in the ass to change the screen, even if you did have the part. Because the outer screen is easy. The outer screen, you basically, all you got to do is put a bag of hot water on the outside and peel off the outer layer and you're good to go. But with the inner screen, you got to take it apart from the front to the back. And, you know, not only is it time consuming, I suspect there's a lot of points of failure in that process. So, yeah, you know, that is the deal with that. So I was fortunate to have a spare phone. If I didn't have a spare phone, I would have to use my Galaxy Note 8, which that phone is a durable phone. I always change the screen protector on my Galaxy Note 8 whenever it breaks. And, you know, the point of a glass screen protector is that it absorbs the energy of impact. So, you know, like, that's the important thing. Yeah, exactly. And, you know, even if it is illegal, like if, let's say my nation made a law that censored free speech or censored types of speech that were not particularly abrasive or offensive or dangerous, not truly dangerous, and there was a way for me to, like, ignore that law, 100%, well, 90%, depending on who's listening right now. But, you know, I know in Europe, in Great Britain, they get a little weird about certain free speech things, like, a guy had his dog do like that salute, the Roman salute, and you know, he went to jail over it. I've seen people who went to jail. I don't know, maybe the reports I see exaggerate, but I've seen stories where people went to jail or got fined for a tweet or for even a retweet. So, you know, I do believe that, like, it's okay to push the screws when it comes to free speech, like to use your free speech to make a point that you are entitled to it. You know, it's reasonable to say it's a privilege or whatever, but it's like, you know, I'm not a journalist. My responsibilities are a little different. Like, I forget what oh yeah, I remember, like, one of the things people say is that free speech, you know, doesn't mean that you're free from consequences for exercising your free speech. So, you know, with this whole cancel culture thing, they'll usually say some crap like that. And it's not entirely untrue, but, like, you know, really, I think people take it to the next level. I think we gotta, like, you know, let each other speak. And if, you know, you want, hit the off button, change the channel, you know, stuff like that. And I mean, a lot of times, free speech, censorship, I mean, it does eliminate or, you know, plug up opportunities to have conversations, you know, and part of that at times might be some of the intent is to, like, prevent, you know, people from, you know, having conversations, you know, in whatever context. There's, you know, different scenarios I can think of, but I think a lot of people are turned off to even start a conversation with certain people. They'll say, like, I refuse to listen to that kind of person. He's a literal bleep, and therefore I don't have to listen to anything they have to say. And it's sort of like in America, we have, like, had controversy over the Confederate flag. And, you know, you could say that maybe a person who chooses to dress as the Confederacy might be an asshole, but, like, somebody's got to do the historical reenactment in, you know, that role. Is it a big deal that the flag is showing? I mean, that is historically accurate. Now, another thing is the Confederate flag was not used by the entire Confederacy. It was like the flag of West Virginia or some crap like that, like a specific battle flag. But that's another topic. Yeah, there we go. Count Dankula. Yep, that was the guy. Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that. I never really looked into the Count Dankula thing. And see, that's another thing. When something happens in the press or in, like, the alt media, whatever you call it, people will usually omit a key detail. Like, they'll say, oh, this guy went to jail because he had his dog do the salute. But they won't point out that the command issued to the dog was, you know, perhaps Sig Zeon, let's say, I don't know, but something more inappropriate, you know. Now, that might still, in my opinion, I gotta see the example, but might still, you know, be like free speech, in my opinion. Might be a matter of turn off the TV, but I can at least understand people expressing offense. I think, you know, you don't need to censor somebody by putting them in jail, you know. Okay, maybe, like, tell them that they gotta start a new YouTube channel or some bullshit. I don't know, like, inconvenience them if it's really a big deal, but I'd have to look into the subject. But it's not uncommon that even people who are on my side will omit, you know, a relevant detail, you know, when they want to try to, you know, share and spread the outrage, especially because, you know, outrage results in clicks, viewership, metrics, etc. So, you know, that basically covers that. And so I think next time I stream, yeah, I totally understand not being interested in the bike streams. I mean, the quality is sketchy. Some of the bike streams were like really like not functional at all. So some of them I would spend like 3/4 of the stream with no audio before I realized it. I am improving the process, but even in its best state, I can understand that it's just not going to be interesting to some people, and that's cool. If I do some exploratory things, I would try to label the stream appropriately. Like if I plan on going to like an abandoned hospital or some cool shit like that. You know, we got one in this area. Because I'm in the 5th borough of New York. So in this particular borough of New York, we have a hospital called Seaview Hospital, and we have an abandoned sanitarium from the from back in the day. Now, probably going there alone is not a good idea. I used to go there with my friends. I got some weird stories about that one. You know, people go there during the daytime to do paintball. It's not really sanctioned, but it's like better to do paintball in this abandoned hospital than anywhere else. One time I went there and a couple of guys from New Jersey pulled out a pew pew and they like shot some blanks up into the sky. And let me tell you, man, a firearm shooting blanks, that shit is freaking loud. That is like one of those stories that you don't tell your mom when you know, come home. He's like, I remember there were times I tell my mom a story, like, hey, I found some oxygen and I lit it on fire and it went pa pa, and my mom would get like so pissed off about that. But same thing if you tell your mom, like, one time I told my mom a dog bit me, and she was like, where'd you get bite? She made a big deal about it. Turned out she was worried about rabies, so that makes sense actually, because the rabies is bad. But the dog only bit my shirt, it didn't bite my body, so we were cool. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, sometimes a little that's an interesting thing you mentioned about the issue that made Dankula famous, because who the hell was it recently? I was actually mentioning, I commented on something recently, and it was like one of these things where like the person became more popular because of the naysayers, just by people being outraged about their work. Suddenly, oh yeah, Eric July, that Rippaverse guy. I mean, I didn't buy his comic book. I don't think I will. I might, but like, I mean, like, I watch his content, his streams more because I just find it interesting, the interplay, like different people attacking him, the tweets that he reads. He interviewed a guy on his stream today, and it was basically a guy who was like, you know, yeah, I'm happy for you that you made a comic book that's independent, but he was upset that the comic book was popular for the wrong reasons. It's like, you know, it was like basically the guy was seething with jealousy. It was like he's working on his own comic book, this other guy, and it's not popular. Eric July makes a comic book, people try to shut him down. It gains even more popular, gets really big, and so the guy in the interview is upset that he's popular for the wrong reasons, which is not really a valid, you know, issue. It's like, make something worth watching, you know, compete, just do it, you know. And that type of attitude is the reason that I'm even like, the guy's even on my radar at this point. Wow, that's interesting, man. Yeah, you know, like when me and my friends used to go to the abandoned hospital, we used to try to like see if one of us could walk into the building alone with no flashlight, nothing. And when you go into like an empty abandoned hospital building in the basement, your mind plays tricks on you sometimes, but there's also homeless people that sometimes inhabit, so it's like, you know, a double-edged sword. One time I walked all the way back to the car and back through the trail without anybody in tow, without a flashlight, and my friends thought I was crazy, so that was fun. Oh yeah, so, okay, here's what I'm gonna do, Sadukar. I'm gonna practice a little bit. I mean, I'm playing, I got a single player, you know, what do you call it? What is it called? Not creative mode, you know, challenging mode. I got single player mode, survival mode, yeah. I got a single player survival mode. I created a single player creative mode because I realized like people were doing all kinds of crazy shit and I wanted to kind of see what I could do. And for example, like I wanted to try out the Exocraft without having to go through the trouble of building one, but I am big on the survival mode. But I need to get into this, now that, you know, I've been playing the game for like a few years, I really should create a new game in multiplayer survival mode so that I can get myself up and running. So I'm going to make that a priority like this weekend. And then hopefully soon, like in a week, I'll even maybe sooner, but definitely within a week or a few days, I'll be in a position to actually join in multiplayer. But like I said, like, I don't think I could take my single player survival mode and make it into a multiplayer, so it looks like I'll probably have to start over. And that's alright, because like I'm usually anti-multiplayer, like, not anti, it's a long story, but you know, yeah, that game, I like it enough that I would do multiplayer on it. I think that, you know, you know, it's well designed for multiplayer, you know. So I think it's about time, high time I try that out. Yeah, man, 4 million, you know, I mean, and part of it was just the fact that there was all this negative press that pushed it over the top. So, yeah, you know. But yeah, so I'm going to visit a friend's house, ride my bike there. Probably not, you know, do the long bike ride, but I'm definitely going to visit my friend. So to that end, I'm going to prepare to leave now. I'm going to go eat something, then go to my boy's house. I got the center in survival. What is center? Oh, yeah, center. See, that's how little I know about this game. Yeah, you know, so I gotta learn this a little bit. I didn't even know, like, you know, half the terminology in this game. Oh, okay, that seems kind of important. The only direct gateway to the next galaxy. Oh, they have another galaxy. Yeah, I gotta get a lot of catch up in this game. But yeah, man, any questions, anything else you want to cover, ask, or bring up before I depart? Excellent. Mr. Shadowcar 7th Legion, thank you for tuning in, and I'll be in touch. And end transmission. I said end transmission. I'm talking to the computer.